Connecticut Sun versus Golden State Valkyries. In this Sun at Valkyries prediction, the Sun head to San Francisco, hoping to slow down the Valkyries' bid to make the playoffs in the WNBA. The Sun are in full rebuilding mode and have the worst record in the league, struggling on both ends of the floor. The Valkyries, the newest expansion team in the WNBA, are fighting for the 8th and final playoff spot and have been playing with urgency in recent weeks to stay in the hunt. The Sun completely overhauled last year's playoff roster, parting ways with all 5 starters from that team during the offseason in what was expected to be a major rebuild. Unfortunately for Connecticut, the results have been nothing short of disastrous, as they currently own the worst record in the league and have struggled to find any consistent rhythm. Thursday night's matchup against the Sparks was another setback, resulting in a 102-95 defeat, their 3rd straight loss. The Sun managed to shoot just 41% from the floor, failing to capitalize on key opportunities, while their defense was porous, allowing the Sparks to connect on an impressive 56% of their field goal attempts. Marina Mabre was a bright spot amid the loss, leading the team with 19 points and adding 7 rebounds, but her individual effort wasn't enough to overcome the defensive breakdowns and lack of depth that have plagued the Sun all season. The Connecticut Sun have been one of the WNBA's worst teams this season, and with a dismal 114 record away from home, it's no surprise they sit firmly in last place in the highly competitive Eastern Conference. Offensively, the Sun rank dead last in the league in points scored, managing just 75 per game, while their defense has struggled as well, surrendering just over 87 points a night. That combination of limited scoring punch and porous defense has left them overmatched in most matchups, particularly against the top-tier teams in the conference. Their inability to create efficient offense in half-court sets, coupled with frequent turnovers, has often led to opponents building early leads that the Sun have been unable to overcome. With a roster in need of more depth, consistent scoring, and improved perimeter defense, it may take years of smart drafting and free agent moves before this team can truly compete in the WNBA again. Without adding reliable outside shooting and playmakers who can create their own shot, the offense will continue to stagnate against more athletic and disciplined defenses. The Sun continue their West Coast swing on Monday night in the second game of a back-to-back, a challenging scheduling spot that will test their depth and endurance. They have just 5 wins on the season heading into Sunday night's game in Las Vegas, and while they have shown flashes of competitiveness, consistency has been elusive. Fatigue could play an even bigger role in this stretch, making it difficult to close out games against opponents with deeper benches. They are 1-1 against the Valkyries this season, each team winning on their home court, with both matchups being decided by single digits. The Sun are last in the WNBA in points per game this season, struggling to generate offense in both half-court and transition situations. They are last in field goal shooting and 12th in three-point shooting, often settling for contested looks rather than creating high-quality opportunities through ball movement or off-ball screens. Too often, possessions stall late in the shot clock, forcing low-percentage jumpers or rush drives that play right into the hands of opposing defenses. Defensively, they are 12th in points allowed per game, giving opponents too many easy drives and open perimeter shots due to slow rotations and lapses in transition defense. The Sun are last in the league in field goal defense and last in three-point defense, which has only compounded their scoring issues. Teams facing Connecticut are shooting a staggering percentage from deep, and the lack of closeouts on shooters has been a season-long problem. They are also last in the league in scoring margin, last in rebounding margin, and 8th in turnover margin. A troubling combination that leaves little room for error and forces them to rely heavily on streaky stretches of play to stay competitive. When their offense goes cold, The Sun rarely have the defensive presence to weather the storm, leading to long runs by opponents that put games out of reach. Leading the way for Connecticut this season has been WNBA icon Tina Charles, averaging 16 points a night and providing veteran leadership in the paint. Her ability to score with her back to the basket and clean up second-chance opportunities has kept the Sun in games they might otherwise fall out of early. Marina Mabre has been the only other consistent double-digit scorer at 15 points per game, showing the ability to knock down mid-range jumpers and attack off the dribble. But with no third scoring threat emerging, opposing defenses can key in on Charles and Mabre, daring the rest of the roster to beat them. This imbalance makes it easy to see where some of the Suns' offensive struggles originate. There's simply not enough balanced scoring support to sustain success over 4 quarters. In their last outing, Connecticut suffered a tight loss to the Las Vegas Aces, with Mabre pouring in 22 points to lead the way. Despite the defeat, the Sun shot an impressive 51% from the field as a team, showing they can execute efficiently when their top players are clicking. That offensive rhythm was particularly evident in the second quarter, where crisp ball movement and timely cuts to the basket kept the Aces' defense scrambling. Even though the Sun battled back from an early double-digit deficit, a few late-game turnovers and missed defensive rotations allowed Las Vegas to close the door in the final 2 minutes. However, without a third reliable scoring option, they remain vulnerable against deeper, high-powered opponents in close contests. Opposing teams have been able to key in on Mabre and the Suns' secondary scorer, forcing other players into lower percentage looks. This lack of consistent bench production has been a recurring issue, and until Connecticut finds a way to generate balanced offense, they will continue to face uphill battles against elite competition. The Golden State Valkyries are trying to earn a playoff spot in their inaugural WNBA season, a feat that would be a major accomplishment for the expansion franchise. They come into this game at 5-5 over their last 10 contests, including a key 72-59 win over the Sparks at home that pushed them ahead of Los Angeles in the playoff hunt. That victory not only gave them a confidence boost, but also showcased their ability to control tempo, as they held the Sparks to just 9 points in the third quarter with suffocating half-court defense. Veronica Burton's 16 points led the Valkyries, while Cecilia Zandalasini chipped in with 14 points, providing a steady scoring presence. Both players played pivotal roles in maintaining offensive flow during stretches where the Sparks threatened to rally. The victory marked the team's third win in 4 meetings against the Sparks this season, clinching the season series and giving them an important tiebreaker advantage, a potentially decisive edge in what is shaping up to be a tightly packed race for the final playoff spot. With only a few games left, every win is magnified, and this one not only bolstered their confidence but also strengthened their hold on the final postseason spot. In their inaugural WNBA season, the Golden State Valkyries have quickly become one of the most intriguing stories in the league, blending gritty defense with just enough offensive firepower to stay firmly in the playoff picture. Entering the final stretch of the regular season, the Valkyries boast a 9-5 home record, a mark that has proven crucial in their bid to hold on to the 8th and final playoff spot. Home court has been more than just a statistical edge. It's been a place where the team's energy, communication, and collective confidence reach their peak, fueled by a growing Bay Area fan base eager to embrace its first WNBA franchise. While offensive struggles have been the team's Achilles heel, ranking 11th in the league in points scored, the Valkyries have counterbalanced those limitations with a defensive identity that has been both relentless and disciplined, allowing just 78 points per game. The second best mark in the league, they have consistently disrupted opposing offenses with suffocating on-ball pressure, smart help defense, and an uncanny ability to force opponents into their least favorable scoring zones. Their defensive schemes are built on forcing high-arcing, contested jump shots while closing down driving lanes, a formula that has proven especially effective against faster-paced teams that rely on transition opportunities. This commitment to defensive intensity has been the great equalizer in games where shots simply aren't falling. In contests that could have easily slipped away due to cold shooting stretches, the Valkyries have leaned on their ability to control tempo, slow the game down, and turn every possession into a grind. The result is a brand of basketball that may not always be pretty, but it's undeniably effective in keeping them competitive against some of the league's most explosive teams. The playoff race has only added urgency to their style, sitting just one game ahead of the Los Angeles Sparks in the loss column for the coveted final postseason berth. Every game has taken on the weight of an elimination scenario. One slip could flip the standings, while a small winning streak could put them out of reach for their closest challengers. That razor-thin margin has turned late-season matchups into high-stakes battles, where execution in the final minutes can make or break an entire campaign. Offensively, Golden State's numbers tell the story of a team still searching for consistent scoring balance. They rank 12th in overall field goal percentage, indicating that shot selection and execution have been ongoing challenges. However, they have found one reliable offensive weapon, the three-point shot. Hitting from deep at the second-best clip in the league, the Valkyries have used perimeter efficiency as a way to offset their struggles inside the arc. Whether it's spacing the floor to create driving lanes or using timely threes to swing momentum, their outside shooting has been a lifeline in close games. On the defensive side, the numbers are even more impressive. In addition to being second in points allowed per game, they lead the WNBA in opponent field goal percentage and rank 6th in three-point percentage defense. These metrics underscore their ability to not just play solid man-to-man defense, but also close out effectively on shooters and rotate with precision. The advanced stats tell an even clearer story. Golden State ranks second in rebounding margin, ensuring they close defensive possessions without allowing multiple chances, and they are third in turnover margin, creating extra opportunities while limiting giveaways. Seventh in scoring margin overall, they've found ways to maximize the possessions they win through defense and rebounding. The team's balanced approach has been anchored by forward Kayla Thornton, whose veteran presence and steady scoring 14 points per game have been invaluable. Thornton isn't just a scoring option, she sets the tone defensively, often guarding the opponent's top scorer, and provides the kind of leadership a young franchise needs during the grind of a playoff chase. Surrounding her are three additional double-figure scorers, giving the Valkyries a multi-pronged attack that keeps defenses from overloading on any single player. The depth was on full display in their most recent victory over the Los Angeles Sparks, a game that may prove pivotal in the playoff race. Veronica Burton led the way with 16 points, but the win was truly a team effort, with 4 players scoring in double figures and a bench unit that brought consistent defensive energy. The defense held the Sparks to just 33% shooting from the field, using disciplined rotations and active hands to deny easy looks. Limiting second-chance opportunities was a major factor, as the Valkyries controlled the glass and turned rebounds into controlled offensive possessions. The 72-59 victory wasn't just another tick in the win column. It was a statement that this team, despite its youth, is built to compete in high-pressure situations. Looking ahead, the road will not get easier. The Valkyries still have several matchups against top-tier opponents, and maintaining their defensive identity will be essential. If they can pair that defensive tenacity with just a modest boost in offensive efficiency, particularly by generating more high-percentage looks in the paint, they could enter the postseason as a dangerous dark horse capable of pulling off an upset or two. The margin for error is slim, but if their first season has shown anything, it's that Golden State thrives when the stakes are highest and the game slows down to a defensive battle. The Connecticut Sun enter Monday's contest mired in one of the most difficult offensive stretches in the league, ranking last in points per game. This season-long inability to establish any consistent offensive rhythm has plagued them from the outset, often forcing them into half-court situations where their lack of shot creators becomes glaring. Their low scoring totals are not just the result of poor shooting nights here and there. It's a structural issue stemming from limited spacing, inconsistent ball movement, and a tendency to settle for contested jump shots rather than forcing the defense to rotate and collapse. In transition, the Sun have shown occasional sparks, but those moments have been few and far between, largely because their defense hasn't generated enough stops to create easy scoring chances. In head-to-head matchups this year, the Sun and Valkyries have played into the hands of defensive-minded basketball. The two teams are 2-0 to the under, with both meetings producing low-scoring, grinded-out affairs where possessions were long, shot clocks often ran down to single digits, and defensive discipline dictated the flow. The total points scored in those games fell well below league averages, underscoring how both sides tend to slow the tempo when facing one another. That trend is unlikely to change given their contrasting trajectories. Connecticut's offense continues to sputter, while the Valkyries have made a clear identity shift towards suffocating defense and controlled pacing. The Valkyries have been one of the most reliable under teams in recent weeks, cashing the under in 4 of their last 5 contests. This isn't by accident. Their offensive game plan has been deliberately methodical, focusing on value per possession rather than volume of possessions. By controlling tempo, they not only limit opponents' fast break opportunities, but also preserve their own legs in what has been a grueling stretch of playoff positioning games. Their approach has mirrored that of championship-level defensive teams. Slow the game down, force opponents to take shots late in the clock, and contest every look, no matter the distance. Statistically, the Valkyries are one of the league's defensive juggernauts. They rank second in scoring defense, allowing opponents only a slim scoring margin per game, and boast the best field goal defense in the league. This combination of limiting both points and shooting efficiency creates a suffocating environment for opponents. Their defensive schemes are versatile. They can switch effectively on pick and rolls, trap ball handlers to force hurried decisions, and rotate seamlessly to close out on shooters. Opponents facing them often find themselves settling for low-percentage contested jumpers or forced to take shots they're uncomfortable with. This defensive consistency was on full display earlier this week in their crucial home victory over the Los Angeles Sparks. That win was far more than just another notch in the win column. It carried significant playoff implications. Entering the game, the Sparks and Valkyries were tied in the playoff race. The win gave the Valkyries a key head-to-head tiebreaker and pushed them ahead in the standings. This has created a tense 3-team battle for the final playoff spot, making every remaining game feel like a playoff matchup. Monday's matchup against the Sun offers the Valkyries an opportunity to solidify their grip on that coveted spot. Given how tight the standings are, a loss could quickly erase their advantage, while a win would place additional pressure on their direct competitors. The key to securing that win will, unsurprisingly, be their defense. The Valkyries have built their identity on defensive toughness all season long. They consistently rank near the top in forcing opponents into difficult situations, whether it's denying easy entry passes to the post, pressuring ball handlers, or closing down three-point attempts with quick, disciplined rotations. This kind of commitment to defensive principles has allowed them to stay competitive in games even when their offense isn't firing on all cylinders. The contrast between the two teams couldn't be more pronounced when looking at defensive metrics. While the Valkyries are near the top of the league in points allowed and opponent field goal percentage, the Sun sit at the opposite extreme, dead last in both categories. Connecticut's defensive breakdowns have been frequent and costly. They struggle to contain dribble penetration, often forcing their bigs into help situations that open up weak-side shooters. This has led to high percentage looks for opponents both inside and out. Their inability to defend the paint has been particularly glaring, as they allow far too many direct drives to the rim and second-chance points off offensive rebounds. The Valkyries' balanced scoring attack, while not explosive, is efficient enough to take advantage of these defensive lapses. They have multiple players capable of attacking mismatches, whether through post-ups, mid-range pull-ups, or catch-and-shoot opportunities from the perimeter. By spacing the floor and forcing Connecticut to defend laterally, they can open driving lanes and put consistent pressure on the Suns' rotations. Given the Suns' struggles in stopping straight-line drives and contesting shots at the rim, this could be the decisive factor in establishing an early lead. Complicating matters for Connecticut is their grueling recent travel schedule. Road-heavy stretches late in the season take a toll physically and mentally, and the fatigue factor often manifests in reduced defensive intensity and slower closeouts. For a team already struggling to defend effectively, the cumulative wear and tear of travel only amplifies their weaknesses. While both teams approach Monday with a sense of urgency, the Sun clinging to slim playoff hopes and the Valkyries fighting to hold on to their position, the advantage leans heavily toward the home team. The Valkyries' defensive dominance, combined with Connecticut's offensive limitations and defensive inefficiencies, it sets up well for the hosts to control the tempo. If the Valkyries execute in the half-court and stay disciplined defensively, they can notch another statement win to keep their playoff push alive. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Golden State minus 9.5. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box.